Now to Cape Town, my colleague Annika Larsen has been in that hearing today. Annika, I think you described it a little earlier as cringeworthy. So at the end of all of this, do we actually know what the cost of an emergency mattress is?
Well, I think it's 1/3 less of what Sassa has inflated it to be in its books. And I think, as you heard DA MP Tim Brotterseth there say, it's wholesale theft. And some MPs, I think, would say that an emergency, whether it's self-made or an actual emergency where people are sitting with their charred belongings next to them with nothing to their names, is a delicious, tasty morsel just ripe for the plucking, because then you can inflate emergency supplies by not having to go through the proper procurement processes and applying for a deviation through Treasury. And it appears, if you listen to MPs in Scopa, that that is what has been happening, along with a sorry tale and a sorry list, which one of my colleagues so aptly called piranhas eating the flesh off a cow, in terms of money being looted. It would appear, at least it's not been tested, by officials in Sassa and social development.
So we have this pattern emerging today, Annika, of wholesale malfeasance. There's a new chief executive officer in position. What's he going to do about it?
Well, he says, you know, the situation's sitting on his desk. He hasn't been there for too long, although he has got a long history at Sassa, so he should know his way around. We've had the Hawks say that they've had investigations for 3 years and nothing's been done about it. There's been a revolving door of acting Sassa CEOs. For instance, Virginia Peterson is one of the people who, along with Lumka Oliphant, the spokesperson for Batabile Dlamini at the time, and Batabile Dlamini, needed millions for security from Sassa to protect their children, for a company that was owned by Arthur Fraser. Remember him, SSA head, now head of prisons. So there is so much money that's been unaccounted for, and it seems as if there weren't proper procurement or irregular expenditure procedures in place to record with proper accounting systems to actual how much irregular expenditure has taken place. You're looking at 1.4 billion at the moment and 664 cases of irregular expenditure, but that really could be the tip of the iceberg. And because, as I said, there's a new administration. Susan Shabangu's got her head on the desk, as you may have seen from one of my photographs. New administration, revolving door of acting staff. Very little is likely to happen.
And it would seem, Annika, that a lot of those people who are named in all of this are simply running for the hills or have found other things to do. For instance, Pearl Bengu, who was the former chief executive, signed off, I think it was 16 million rand, thereabouts, on an education meeting in one day. Procurement regulations were violated, but she wasn't there today, was she?
No, and she often isn't, Jeremy. Pearl Bengu, who we believe was very close to Batabile Dlamini, the former social development minister, failed to appear several times before Scopa. She has said that she has been unwell, and today she has said that she was not able to attend again because she was unwell. She signed off in one day 16 million rand, despite being told not to. 400,000 rand for flooring, 487,000 rand for a marquee, 460,000 rand for VIP guest gifts, all for some education seminars that were going to happen in the roll-up to the ANC's elective conference. Well, the narrative that's been drawn by DA MPs is that they were trying to get some sort of support for a certain faction in KZN at the time, but that, of course, has not been tested or proven. Pearl Bengu has now been redeployed to the KwaZulu-Natal, where she originally came from, and is no longer the head of Sassa, but she has some answering to do. But again, the big question I ask is, why was Batabile Dlamini not asked to appear before this committee and now left with lower level Sassa officials to clean up the mess?
Just finally, Annika, let's move away from allegations of malfeasance, maybe to the process and procedure within the department again. I never quite got my head around this thing called the parallel work streams that Batabile Dlamini introduced within her own department. But it cost an enormous amount of money, over 40 million rand, if I remember.
43 million rand. I don't understand the parallel work streams either, Jeremy, but what I can tell you is that they were set up by the former minister despite advice from her DG at the time, and her Zane Dango, you can remember, he resigned. Mr. Magwaza, he also resigned at the time because of these work streams. There were parallel systems put in place alongside Sassa officials to sort out a new grant payment system when CPS's contract was declared to be unlawful. What they actually did, why there needed to be a parallel work stream, nobody seems to have the answer to, but Bathabile Dlamini did tell a court 2 weeks ago, an inquiry into a costs matter with the social grants issue, that the National Assembly and not the courts should be holding her accountable. So it would be interesting to see whether she will be called by Scopa and why she failed to appear before it several times last year as minister.